enough. All righty. Good morning, everyone. We have a new remote script, so bear with me as I work my way through it. We're using Zoom for this meeting, which allows for the public to participate in the meeting as an attendee. The chair can request that members of the public provide their names for purposes of keeping accurate minutes of the meeting. The chair will call on those who have raised their hands. Should not have just taken a bite of my peanut butter and jelly sandwich right before I started talking. And my tongue is being glued to the top of my mouth. On those who have raised their hands in the order they were raised. All questions should be directed through the chair. As a preliminary matter, this is Visitor Services. This is Chantal Blythe Murphy, Director of Culture and Tourism. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mary Malaves.
Here.
Niles Parker.
Here.
Matthew Peel.
Here.
Peter Morrison.
Here.
And Sarah Boyce.
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. David Sharp.
Here.
And Chantal Blythe Murphy is here. And anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative. Kimberly McHugh.
I'm here.
And Sean Driscoll.
Here.
Thank you both for being here. So good morning. This open meeting of the Visitor Services Advisory Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting can feature public comment. For this meeting, VSAC is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Any members of the public who might be on or joining us, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. And with that, I will yield the floor to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chantal. Welcome, everyone. I would like to bring to your attention the second item on the agenda, which is the approval of the May 9th minutes. All the minutes were distributed and posted to the town clerk's site in, I think, June. I'll look at this, June 8th, they were posted for the public. Are there any comments or corrections to the minutes from the committee? All right, seeing none, I'd like to call the committee through roll call for a vote. Is there anyone that, back up. The May 9th minutes as printed and distributed. May I have a vote for all in favor? Matt
Motion to
Peel.
approve.
Yeah, Matt Peel.
A motion to approve.
Peter Morrison.
Approve.
Sarah Boyce.
Approve.
Niles Parker.
Approved.
All right. I, Mary Malaves, approve. Any abstentions? Hearing none and seeing none requested for the record, the minutes will stand as distributed in the early packet for June's meeting. Thank you. Moving right along. Next item on the agenda is a conversation with Sean Driscoll. Sean, thank you so much. And I didn't know Kimberly was going to be here. Kimberly and I have probably known each other since she first started with the steamship, which was several years ago.
17 years, can you believe
Is,
that?
is it 17? I knew it was a while when we used to go to those early Chamber of Commerce dinners.
Yeah,
So Kimberly, I'm happy to have you on this call with Sean, and thank you for taking time out of both of your busy June schedules to be with us.
Our
The
pleasure.
Visitor Services Committee is something that's formed by a bunch of wonderful volunteers here. You can see my whole committee. And obviously, our role and mission is to help and assist visitors as they get to the island, and whether it's with information or all sorts of wonderful visitor-related items that David runs. But anyway, thank you all. I'll turn the discussion over to Sean. Thank you for being here.
Great, thank you. Kimberly won the toss, which means that I'm talking today and presenting. So I'm, if I may, I would like to share my screen real quick just to do a quick presentation, and then we can just move into questions. But I did work up a couple of notes here. Can you all see that?
yep.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So just a quick look ahead to 2023. We're seeing all signs that demand remains strong for travel on both routes, and especially the Nantucket route. On our 2023 opening day for vehicle reservations for the summer schedule, we processed 9,153 transactions. It's down slightly from 2022 when we had just short of 9,500, but it's significantly up from 2021, as you can see, when we processed 5,530 on that opening day. Through May 21st, our passenger traffic is up. Fast ferry passengers traffic is up 23.3%. We've had 51,957 passengers to date. Overall traffic is up 8.7% on the Nantucket route, with both a traditional ferry and the slow boat and the fast boat combined. I forgot I'm on Nantucket, so I can say slow boat and you guys know what I'm talking about. Automobile traffic is down slightly, 2.1%, but mostly that's in standard fare vehicles. So what we're seeing is a little bit of a reversion to the norm of the mix of visitors traveling versus excursion fare or year-round islanders traveling. So, but overall we're down slightly, although it's, you know, early in the year, so a small deviation there can make a big difference, and that can get made up pretty easily as the year goes on. I just wanted to share a note on our staffing, which I know has been in the news lately. In April, we got an unexpected shortage of licensed deck officers. So that's our captains and our pilots. Unfortunately, the most crucial people and the hardest positions to fill for us, because you can't just go down to the street corner to pick up a pilot or a captain. That takes years of training and licensing. So the result of that on your route is that the fast ferry schedule has remained at 4 round trips a day. So that the early part of the schedule is 4 round trips, and we've continued that instead of 5, which is where we should be for right now. So that 5th trip of the day is the one that we're not running. We do have 10 crew members who are waiting for their credential testing from the Coast Guard. So we're hopeful to be able to restore the full schedule at some point over the summer. But our alternative for the time being is running that 5th trip just on Fridays and Sundays on an overtime basis, which is our hope. We cannot necessarily guarantee it because the overtime is not mandatory, but that is our plan. But we are still at this point down to 4 round trips a day. A couple of notes about what's new or coming up this year. We've got electric buses that are, been saying this for a couple of years now. Thank you, COVID, and shortages of supplies, but hopefully these are coming online here this month. They are actually physically here now, which is good. We've got 3 expected to come online this month and 4 more later this year. These are going to serve the parking lots on the Vineyard and Nantucket route, so in Hyannis and in Falmouth. We've also got electric shuttle buses, so the shorter buses that you may be used to on the Nantucket side, ordered for Hyannis, that are hopefully going to come online this year or perhaps in 2024. So this is a great thing for us. These will be the first electric buses to be in service on the Cape once they get going. We're going to beat the Cape Cod Regional Transit Association administration on that, I hope. We're also deep into development on our new website, which is now going to debut in the fall. It's going to be faster, more stable, easier to navigate, a much more modern experience compared to what we've had on the website for the last several years. Most excitingly, it's going to be mobile first. So everything you can do on your desktop, you'll be able to do on your phone. It'll be exactly the same experience from phone to tablet to desktop. We'll have some new features, including a shopping cart, so you can have multiple vehicle reservations and pay once for those. Some new updates to your default settings, a notification center, and an improved account dashboard. So the website and the mobile app, which will be our first ever, as I said, are expected this fall. And then, you can see the design here a little bit, but that's just a glimpse of what's to come. And then just a reminder about how to find us. We're on all the fun social channels. We have e-news and text and email alerts that you can sign up for on our website. And we post all kinds of goodies there. So that's a great way to keep up on what's happening. And that is it. I'm going to keep that short so we can leave time for questions. So happy to take any questions from anybody or expand on anything. Those are just a couple of the high points.
Yeah. Sean, I have a quick question. This is Mary. I have this little thing on my phone that's called SSA Mobile. That's just a mirror of the current website? Was that just a convenience?
What that is an old, when we created that about 10 years ago, all the rage was a mobile only website. So an m.steamshipauthority.com that had limited functionality and just a couple of things that you can do. So that's going to go away. So when you go to steamshipauthority.com on your mobile site, on your mobile device rather, you will see a mobile version of the full website. So right now on mobile, you have to click through to go to the full website, and it looks very bad and it's very hard to navigate on your phone, but you can do it. But the new experience is going to be identical to what you could do on your desktop. So it's going to be a huge improvement and much more like what you get on Southwest or JetBlue or really any other travel booking site that'll be much more familiar to everybody.
And the rollout for that is the fall?
Yeah, we were hoping to get it in before the summer starts, but its development is ongoing. So, and we don't want to launch a new website in July or August. That sounds like a bad idea to everybody on this call. So,
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, so we're shortly after Labor Day is what we're aiming for.
I think what I use this little mobile that I have is because the alerts are updated. And
yeah, and that'll be on the new site as well. That'll continue there. I mean that
now on the Fast Ferry last round trip. On some of the websites on this mobile thing, of course, it's still showing as available that it is running. But when you go to the full website and book it, does it just not show up?
It should show. You shouldn't be able to book it, and it shouldn't be showing up as running. So I'll have to look into that. But it shouldn't be on there, but you wouldn't be able to book it. So they are shut off for booking for sure.
Yeah.
If you're still seeing it, you wouldn't be able to buy a trip and then buy a ticket and then show up and not find it.
So, question, are you looking at your mobile?
Yes.
At the mobile site. Okay, that's why we probably should make sure that we take care of that.
And to be honest, I just looked at it this morning. If you go in under scheduling for today, it shows that it's there and it's running.
I'm looking at it now, so I'll have to look into that. The architecture of all this stuff is
I can't imagine the layers.
It's like a puzzle of pieces.
No.
Right.
I just noticed it and thought I would mention it before other people
Thank you.
are complaining. Well, it's on your site, but anyway. Questions? Matt, go ahead.
Hi, excuse me. Matt Peel. Question for you, just kind of more out of curiosity, do you guys track kind of directional as well? I know you're kind of tracking the traffic coming on, but as far as going off as well, are you seeing a decrease as far as numbers? Increase as far as, you know, what an average percentage you would normally see this time of year? Because I know years past, you kind of, this time of year, you kind of see like a lot of the construction leaving, you know, to get ready for the, you know, people coming in for summer. And I think the last couple of years, we just don't see that anymore. You know, they're really working year round now. And so, and which I think is kind of exploding the congestion problem and traffic problem. You know, I just tried to run, I had to go pick up, I run FedEx on the island, and I had to go pick up a driver down at the boat, and it took me almost 45 minutes to get there and back.
Mm.
So I was just kind of curious about that as far
Yeah,
as
I'm looking at
the
I only have those numbers through April, and I'm kind of looking at this live here, so I can get back to you with some more detail. But I mean, it is, you do see more. Well, you know what? Let me get back to you on it, Matt, because I don't want to. It's 8:20 in the morning, and I'm not going to read this right, and I haven't finished my coffee yet. So
Second
I'm
cup of coffee, right?
right. So I'm happy to get some. I mean, we cut data every which way from Sunday here, so we can definitely pull those. I'm looking at it live, and I don't want to misstate anything. So, you know, are you more curious about auto traffic or passenger traffic or both, or?
Mostly auto. I just be kind of curious just to see, you know, as far as how much is the, you know, with how many cars coming on, how much are we seeing go off? You know, I think before there was kind of a good balance, and now we're seeing it more directionally one way rather than the other.
Well,
So-
right now I can say through April, you know, from Nantucket to Hyannis, we've carried 6,100 cars. From Hyannis to Nantucket, we've carried 7,600. So there's a balance of about 1,500 net cars to the island versus off the island. But this is also the first half of the year, and people are coming for the summer. You know, the swoosh goes that way, and then the swoosh will come the other, the tide will go out later in the year. But I mean, we definitely have seen a change in traffic over there, especially because a lot of people are, as I'm sure you're all aware, keeping cars on the island more and traveling with them less, especially summer people or summer rentals are coming with cars. So, and if you want to hear a couple hours about that, you can ask Nat Lowell a question. He'll give you the book. So, I mean, right now, I just don't know enough to know if this is atypical for this time of year or not. So I can look into that for you.
Plus, Matt, I think, and Sean, I think part of it too is the pricing when excursion fares change, because a lot of Nantucketers that I know planned their trips on and off
For that
before
date,
a May 15th date, you know, because, and even probably you would see it in that April numbers, because, you know, most people that are working, you know, don't have the privilege of leaving on the noon boat, so they have to do a drive on, drive off. And the fact that, you know, from the drive on, drive off rate goes up sooner than the excursion rate changes. So that, you know, I think you see more people try to go off in April, because if you have to do a drive off 1st of May, we're paying a premium when, you know, when we're working. So that's a whole nother issue that I just personally have noticed. But, and also you have Daffodil. Okay, Peter, did you have a question? Peter, you're muted.
I had a couple of comments really, and, you know, small round of applause. Just to follow up on Matt's point, you know, myself being, you know, the data hound, I think there's really some incredibly valuable information that comes out of your raw data. And I know that you're not in the data business, or, you know, I know you use it for your own purposes, but I would like to, you know, urge the Steamship Authority to put together, you know, in whatever convenient way you can, information, you know, any raw data that you can put together with the minimal amount of, you know, this is what it shows you. Matt said, you know, the statistics on gross flows of passenger vehicles would be incredibly informative. as to the comings and goings of people, you know, whom we count on the ground at any particular point of time.
Mm.
And also, I suspect you could calculate, you know, you could provide very easily duration of stay. You know, you subtract the date of departure from the date of arrival for a vehicle and just say, we don't know what it means, but you guys want to figure it out, go ahead. You know, interpret it as you will. And also, I wanted to point out that we had a presentation from the airport that was kind of analogous to yours in terms of statistics. And that was very informative. And I think the two together in the hands of people who are trying to figure out exactly what's going on would amplify the value of this. I mean, we got some really interesting insights into the natural experiment of COVID. I mean, we saw, you know, where things went way down, and then we saw how quickly it rebounded. So those are some suggestions, and I'm not trying to impose work on at your end. I'm just saying, if you have the data in raw form and you can, you know, write 3 sentences about what it is and what it isn't at some point in the next year and turn it over to people like me or to others who could use it, I'd be happy to take the lead on, you know, trying to make it more available. The other thing I wanted to say is, I'm a real fan of your website as it is, not because it's perfect, but because it's kind of astonishing that it does 99% of what it does flawless or correctly. I mean, you know, it's really amazing. So
Well, thank you.
the only other thing I wanted to say is I would appreciate receiving a copy of your slides, you know, at your
Yeah.
convenience.
I will send those off as soon as we're done here. I finished the presentation moments ago, so I will get it to you as soon as we're done.
Okay.
Yeah,
Could I just jump in and say that we have this wonderful report that I post on our website, and it's all of the stats for the last like 10 years on both routes, and it kind of dices it. It's long and lengthy, but it might be something that we can share with you. It's public information anyway. So how about I maybe send that link to you if you want to take a look at that? It's all raw data. So
That would be great. I'd be happy to look at it, and consider me your informal point of contact
Yeah.
if you want to.
We also do, I mean, we share a lot of stuff with the Nantucket data platform too. So we're
Yeah.
have that stuff is not, I mean, that's pretty raw is easy. It's compilations that are hard. So
Yeah.
we've got a lot of that sitting around.
Yeah.
So we can
Right.
All right,
touch
thanks.
base offline.
Thanks, Peter. Any other questions or comments? Matt?
Yeah, just as kind of what Peter said, but does a Steamship have a data analyst for you guys to kind of forecast, you know, staffing, that kind of stuff?
I mean, we don't have a data analyst per se. I mean, we have, you know, a accounting and finance department and people who look at the data. We don't and we don't really do forecasting in terms of traffic. I mean, the most that we do is when we do our budget cycle, we look at the last 12 months of traffic at a certain point and use that as the basis for the upcoming budget cycle. I mean, we don't project 5 years out or 2 years out, or we don't get into that too much because, you know, we're not building our schedules to meet anticipated demand. We're basing it on what the actual demand has been for the last year. So we're not too speculative on that stuff. So we don't have anybody who's, I mean, I know a lot of other people do this, but we're not, you know, we don't have anybody who's looking at our data in concert with other pieces of data to try to form a bigger picture. I mean, in the other island, the Martha's Vineyard Commission does that. You know, I'm sure Nantucket Data Platform is doing things like that. So we provide a lot of that stuff, but we don't do that kind of number crunching ourselves.
All right, I have 2 comments. On the website currently, and this has been in the news and the media, I know Kimberly's put it out there a lot of places, that the Steamship Authority now is doing strategic plan planning. I believe you've hired someone, which is what came out of that survey a few years ago, where the consultants that came in and looked at structure as opposed to operations. So I would encourage everyone to get the word out that I think, was it till early July? There's a survey that individuals can fill out.
Mhm.
And I think that would be helpful, first of all, for all of us that haven't seen it, to at least look at it. And secondly, maybe encourage other people, because we can't complain about things that, you know, we don't like if we're not willing to help be part of a solution. That's, you know, we always say, well, I wish they did. Well, you know, now's your time. As far as I've seen from the survey, at least get the word out there if there's things that, you know, you're concerned about. I think what I've read in the newspapers is, you know, like a lot of businesses, their, you know, key employees are aging out and retiring, and rightly so. I mean, the airlines have faced it, you know, a lot of people are facing it. So I think anything that, you know, the steamship could do to encourage, you know, education and moving forward. I mean, you're going to have to, this isn't going to go away. You know, and that would be a total impact on us, you know, and on getting goods and services to us. So I think that's my personal concern. And hopefully, you know, you can get into Mass Maritime and a few places like that
Right.
early.
No, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we have strong relationships with those people, but
Yeah.
it's an industry-wide problem. And there's not as many kids going into the maritime trades as there used to be. I mean, it's the, you know, we're not alone within the maritime field, and the maritime field is not alone within society as far as those
Yeah.
trends.
Totally agreed. And I know some of the airlines, I was told, you know, are funding some of these, you know, students to come through, because, you know, the airlines were, you know, are still facing that problem. So it is nationwide on a lot of things. Baby boomers are retiring, so it's okay. Any other questions or comments? Peter?
Yeah, I just had one idea that I wanted to run by you all, and you know, just suggest maybe you want to think about this. It just occurred to me. You know, you say you don't have a data analyst, and I can tell you where you can get a free McKinsey consulting study worth $50,000, and it's called the Worcester Polytechnic Institute's programs. The students come in and they will take your data under the supervision of people like me, and they will bash it, and they will come up with a report that will knock your socks off. That's an idea that you might want to pursue going forward. I'm kind of the, you know, the go-between with them, and I could certainly suggest it as a project. And I think it would be one that they would find ideally suited, because it's data intensive, and you know, it's something where you start out in a real world situation. So put that on your list for sometime later this year. Touch base with me, and I'll bring it up as a proposal if you'd like.
And I do know that WPI has done a fair amount of data reporting out here on different industries. I think Niles.
I know I've given WPI data for other projects.
Yes,
So they haven't
yes.
done anything for us, but I'm well acquainted with their data hounds. So
Yeah, they're a good group of people that we need to encourage. They help a lot of businesses out here, and I believe they did some things for the NHA and some other organizations as well. So that's
Mary, it's Niles. They did. You're right. Absolutely. And I actually just got a contact from the head professor, who said they are looking for new project ideas for the coming year. So if there is something, now's the time to approach them.
perfect. Thanks, Niles. I know I've seen some of the WPI reports for, you know, other groups, and they're interesting reading. You know, it brings everything to, you know, one site. So, any other questions or comments for our visitors?
I just want to add on the note of the strategic planning project, and thanks, Mary, for reminding me of that the actually today is the open house on Nantucket for the strategic plan. So that's from 4:30 to 6 at the Yacht Club. So in addition to that survey, which is open through June 30th, our strategic plan consultants are actually on your island this afternoon for an open house to review our draft excuse me, review the proposed vision statement and strategic outcomes as part of that project. So there's an opportunity yet this afternoon, or that survey is open until the end of the month.
All right, thanks, Sean. Any other comments, questions? Well, Sean and Kimberly, you're more than welcome to stay on for our other reports, but I know you're probably busy, so you don't have to. It's that time of the year, but please reach out to us anytime you think visitor services could be helpful, especially with, you know, people coming and going. Chantal's always there. David has a fabulous crew at the Information Center, and you know, it's our mission to aid visitors. Once they're here, you bring them and we will help them with information. So,
Well, thanks for the opportunity to talk to you guys. Really appreciate it, and definitely reach back out if you need anything.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
thanks,
guys.
Kimberly.
Bye.
Bye, Kimberly. Okay, moving right along. Director's report. Chantal, take it away.
Alrighty. June has been fun-filled. We kicked off June 1st with our grant reception at the White Heron Theater, where we invited the cultural organizations on the island, pretty much everyone in the last 10 years who's received a grant from either the Cultural District or the Cultural Council, to join us just for an hour and a half to just meet each other and hopefully create some great connections. And we had a great turnout. There were a lot of people there that I'd never met in person because of COVID, that I email with and talk to on the phone all the time. And I finally got to see how tall they were in person. So that was really nice. Sarah joined us there, so it was really nice to see her there as well. We're hoping to do that each year, probably on a much smaller scale, because we won't have 10 years worth of grant award recipients. But yeah, so that was how we started the month. We also finally got our cultural district kiosk moved from the Thomas Macy warehouse, and now it is in the visitor services office. So if you're ever in town and strolling around, please pop in and check out that kiosk. Marina Jube, who does our marketing for the cultural district, and I spend a lot of time making sure that events are added to that. And we need all the help we can get, because there's a lot going on the island. So if you ever look at the website or look at the kiosk and see that something's missing, please email us and we'll get it up there. We're pretty quick, you know, even on the weekend, we'll get it up within an hour or so, because I'm always checking my emails. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on thus far. We are now ending the fiscal year, so it's just a lot of cleanup of culture and tourism and visitor services stuff to get ready for July 1st, when we get access to our data tracking platform that will give us, you know, information within 48 hours of visitors being on the island, which will be really useful. So by the September meeting, I'll be able to report more accurate information about who was on island, where they were staying, what they did while they were here, and all that good stuff. So I'm really excited. Love data. So
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to sift through all of that and share that information with you guys. And that, of course, is available to all the cultural organizations on the island, because I am getting it through a Mass Cultural Council grant. And also happy to share it with, of course, Peter Burke over at the Chamber, so that he can share it with businesses, so that we can start making some really informed decisions about what we do each season and staffing and all that good stuff. So that is where I'm at right now. Anyone has any questions for me?
I just have a question on old business. I think June is, you know, all you're doing is just wonderful, and, you know, promoting our cultural district is so important. But two things that came up from other minutes is when we had Sheila Lucy come and speak with us, there was some suggestion that we might meet with her lifeguards or help her with information, and I didn't know if she has reached out to us again, or if it's something that we need to do, you know.
I think we'll need to reach out to her as she kicks off her season. I think where we landed was that we were going to be supplying them with information, and she has a bulletin board down there that she's going to allow us to put information
Okay.
on as well. So it's on the ball's in our court to reach back out.
Okay.
connect and
Yeah, I
get
couldn't,
stuff
I
down
couldn't
there.
remember. I just know we talked about it. And then the other thing is on last month's minutes, we were talking about hopefully the lodging association will start convening again. And I didn't know if you've had any new information on that. Everyone's busy now beefing up and getting ready
Yeah.
for book and film and coming off wine and, you know, whatever. But I think that's a major source that seems to have fallen apart through no fault of anybody's other than it just has.
Mhm. So I spoke to Mark Anthony last month, excuse me, and we've been admittedly playing phone tag,
Yeah,
excuse me, over the last few weeks. But when I spoke to him, he mentioned that they did have a meeting with the new folks in lodging now. And from the conversation, it seemed they were trying to tackle lodging and even the restaurant association or restaurants, I should say, because restaurant association is no longer in effect. But their biggest issue is staffing. So they were trying to create a talent bank, but trying to find a way to put it online where it was available to restaurant and hotels, where, you know, you would essentially post your staff schedule. And if there were folks working for you that wanted to pick up extra shifts, you would basically share staff. Their issue right now is funding for it. When last we spoke, again, that was last month. I don't know how much that's changed. And I, of course, offered to help them hunt down some grants that would essentially fund the design of a software like that, or exploring programs that might already exist. So with the season already starting and the phone tag back and forth, I think everybody's just really busy. So it's likely going to be in the fall
Yeah.
that we're able to talk to them.
that's okay. As
But I
long
know
as
that.
it's still on everybody's radar. So I think that's important. Usually my experience has been associations like restaurant, lodging. We used to have a Main Street Association. I mean, there used to be all sorts of little ones. They usually come together when there's a crisis or there's something that you know, needs to be addressed by a group. You know, and whether, you know, and that this is what has happened over the years. And when there's no pressing issues, everyone seems to do their own thing, which is great. I mean, it's nice to see that there's no controversial things that need to be addressed. But, you know, I think it's important that that communication continues. So I thank you, Chantal, for, you know, following up on that. All right. Any
Yeah,
other
of course.
questions? Any other questions for director's report? Okay,
I have one more thing to add, if you don't
sure,
mind. Please.
go ahead.
On June 19th, I forgot I was talking about June. On June 19th, we're having our annual Juneteenth celebration. So it will start with a tour of the historic colored cemetery led by Barbara White, and that will be at 11. And then at 12:30, we're inviting the community to join us at the African Meeting House. That'll be from 12:30 to 2:30, where the new executive director of the Museum of African American History, Boston and Nantucket, will be on island with a number of her staff to meet the local community. So it's a great opportunity to connect and share your ideas about what you would like the space to be like in the future. So if any of you are here and around, please feel free to stop by there. And then, of course, we will be heading out to the Nobodere Athletic Fields off of Nobodere Farm Road, where we'll be having a cookout where we'll have Snick Snack. So we're not actually cooking anything. Snick Snack will be bringing the food truck, and we're serving, you know, soul food. It's first come, first served. My grant only goes so far. So show up early. It's from 3 to 5. Show up early and grab some great food. We'll have games and crafts out there for the kids. It's very family friendly. We'll have some music going. We're basically just trying to create a really nice, low-key, family friendly experience for folks, similar to what we do for 4th of July down at Children's Beach.
That's
And
wonderful.
to the NHA for partnering with me on this. NHA and the Chamber and the Museum of African American History has been great getting this off the ground.
Thanks for pulling that all together, Chantal.
Yeah.
Should be fun enough.
Thank you, Mal. Thank you.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda, David.
Hello, I just wanted to bring up that I included the May statistics for you to all to look at. We're continuing to keep going up in terms of people coming into the office compared to the last 2 or 3 years. And wanted to point out that we had a very busy Memorial weekend at the office. We had more people, about 100 more people in the office than we did last year. The other thing too is I wanted to mention that we are all our staff has finally returned for the season. Susan Burns was the last to arrive, and she is one of those people who gets stuck in that housing situation where she needs to find housing before she gets here. So she was able to do that. We also have the airport and Straight Wharf kiosks open. And we are also going to have our first concert at Children's Beach this Sunday with Chris Hansen. So come on out on Sunday at 6. The other thing that I wanted to mention is Chantal and I went out last Thursday to the public safety building and had an orientation session with the new CSOs. And I got regaled with "sir, yes, sir" all the time, and they're very and Chantal was like, "Yeah, ma'am, yes, ma'am," right? So it's very interesting. They're a very good group this year, and I think they're very they're going to do very well. And they told them to make sure to come into the office and say hello to our staff and fill up with water and cool down with the air conditioning and make sure not to ticket our cars. So anyway, the other thing is working on July 4th stuff. We're going to get going on that soon, and just looking for a great great summer ahead. So that's all I've got at this point.
Matt.
Yeah, I was just curious, does Colette Tours reach out to you guys? I noticed them downtown a little while ago.
We've got tours like every day, and so the tour operators do come in and get stuff, and they're picking up maps and such. So they do come in individually, in addition to all the people on their tours that wander in and out.
So do they kind of come in and just like they'll grab maps and then they give them to the people and they're kind of off on their own for a couple hours, or do they plan out their? I don't know.
Yeah.
I worked with Colette in Seattle years ago.
Yeah.
Worked at a cruise ship terminal down there. But yeah, I was wondering how they ran it out here.
Well, it seems as though they kind of I do get contact emails, requesting stuff before they arrive. But for the most part, I'm noticing that the tour directors come in and collect stuff on their own, and they kind of are not, they've never been in the office or haven't been here in a while. So they're kind of trying to find out what it is that is here. And then they'll go back and tell their guests to, come on in here.
Do we capture their business cards and we may want to mail to them or
I could-
email them
yeah,
in
we
the
could-
off season?
We could do that. If next one or two that come in, I'll ask them for their cards.
Because it might be nice to get to them, in January when tours are booked, so that they know, we're a resource. That's our mission. So I think it's great that they find you, and we haven't done anything really other than, made sure they know that visitor services exists and the information center's there with information. I mean, obviously they find us, which is great, but it might be nice, just a little thank you for stopping in and, keep that communication going.
Well, definitely look out for them.
Yeah. Thanks, David. That sounds great.
You're welcome.
So I guess what you did for the CSOs might be something similar that Sheila may want at one of her little orientation meetings. Because I know they meet, I know she has, in the summer, I think she has a daily meeting with them before they
Yeah.
get sent off. But then, they have a whole week of training, prior to. And I
Well,
think
we
a
can
lot
reach
of
out
this-
to them and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, now, anything else for David or Chantal before we talk about scheduling? Matt?
Do we congratulate Chantal on her appointment to the school board committee?
Ah, shoot, you took my closing line.
Oh.
Yes, we all know how important that committee is, and you're gonna have loads of reading, so.
Been a lot of reading so far.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Their packet is quite large. It's about as large as the select board. But yes, no, I think it's wonderful, and we need that continuity of someone that's been here for a while and knows what it's like to be in the school system. So I think that's great. But thank you, Matt, for bringing that up. Secondly, moving along to scheduling. If my memory serves me, we don't meet in July and August. Is that correct? And you just email us information that we need?
we could skip that. Usually, I think we've met in July early on, but that's right after the 4th. And so we could meet again in September.
Okay,
And
because we're not required to meet in July or August.
no, we're not a policy
Yeah,
making board.
Gotcha. The next question is, I think my term is up in 2 weeks. So I need to talk to someone about whether we should be continuing. And is there somebody else that's coming off in June? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, Peter.
I mean, Peter.
I'm coming off, but I have already re-embarked.
Okay,
So I'm on.
okay. All right, well, I haven't sent back my papers, but I'd like to talk to Chantal and David first, but I do enjoy this committee. So that said, anything else for the group? I would just say keep us posted, David, Chantal, anything you think we can help us with, individually. I think everything's great. I know David's got a couple of new employees who are women that I have known for, I couldn't tell you how many years, who, are
Yeah.
wonderful Islanders. I got the report the other day that, the new employee was at the airport in case I needed anything. I live near the airport. So.
Yes, I have two terrific new staffers. One is Ann Ballas from the Anchor Inn, and the other is Lina Gillies, who has been on island for quite a long time, and I think we've all crossed paths with her in some form or other. But they're both wonderful people, and I'm glad to have them, and they're happy to be here. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a great summer.
And for those of you that didn't know, Ann's late husband, Charles, was one of the major committee members of this committee for years. So she has lived through this for a long time, and she's a dear friend of, 35 years. So she's very excited about being there. And I tell you, a wealth of information, she is, personifies running a guest house for 30 some odd years. So, she's used to being with the public, and she's happy to be here. So that's great. But all right, anything else for the group? Okay, I thank you all. Chantal, David, thank you very much for your wonderful committee and minutes to all of us. And it was great having Sean, and I didn't know Kimberly was going to be on today, but she's, as I said, she's been there a long time and is a great resource. Reach out to her anytime. So, okay.
Madam Chair, if I might
Thank you all.
ask,
Yes,
we
go
do
ahead.
also have, we still have, outside of yours and Peter's seat, we do have one open seat as well. So if you know
Oh.
anyone that would be interested in serving, please have them reach out to us.
Perfect. If the committee would keep that in mind, if they have some people that we think could help us, I think we have a good group now, but we can always use one extra to fill. And that would be great to do a little orientation over the summer to bring someone on in September, even though the term starts in July. So, okay, perfect. Thanks, Chantal, for that. Okay,
Thank you, guys.
all right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, thank you. All in
All right.
favor?
I.
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Aye.